a sunlit world of what he believes to be reality. But there is, unseen by most, an underworld, a place that is just as real, but not as brightly lit. A dark side.
Good morning!
Good evening!
Wherever you may be,
Around the world,
you're listening to
Dark Side of Insanity
with Jamie and
James.
Woohoo! Welcome!
Tonight we have a few guests with us from the GhostNET Paranormal team. We have Travis, Alan, Eleena, and Matt. How are you guys doing today?
Doing pretty good. What's going on?
Doing good.
Awesome. Can each of you tell us a little bit about yourselves?
You can go first. Okay. All right. I'm Matt, one of the founders of GhostNET Paranormal. We're based out of Central Illinois. And I'm the, lead investigator. I really don't put a title on me. I mean, we all do what we do. We go out and we help people, and plus we try to enlighten people with the paranormal if they are unaware on what lies beyond our realm, you know?
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, I'm Travis. I'm like one of the investigators, historian. I look up the locations and try to find out as much history as I can and give it to the team, and we can figure other things out. I've been a part of GhostNet for probably close to a year now, and it's been a lot of fun. I've experienced some things when I was younger and everything, and always wanted to be on a paranormal team. And Matt and Alan and Eleena asked me if I'd like to join after investigation next to where my work is, where we always say that it's haunted. We see a little girl, and we ended up catching a very awesome EVP and everything.
Yeah, we did. We got a very...
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I heard a cut there, so I was like, I was going with you. Yeah, we investigated a place when we brought him in to GhostNet with that little girl. He said we got a Class A EVP of the little girl, and it was it just blew our mind. It was so clear. I mean, yeah, we've gotten EVPs before, but that was like one for the best.
I was downstairs in the basement with Eleena when you guys were reviewing it, and me and Eleena both heard that little girl go hi, and we were like, what? And we heard you and Alan just like erupt in like excitement.
Oh, yeah, we freaked out, and I remember telling you guys to come upstairs and we replayed the EVP, and it was just clear as day, like she was right there.
Oh. Okay. Alan, turn.
My name is Alan Dodd. I am been with GhostNet since the beginning. I guess my title is pretty much like lead tech / investigator. And really like what we do. We've been through a lot of good places from the start. And I've always been into this kind of stuff ever since I was younger. And then that house was really, really haunted, had some stuff happen to me and stuff, and I've always wanted to just find out answers and stuff. You know why they reach out and all this kind of stuff.
Awesome.
Sorry, there's a motorcycle driving by.
It's all right.
And my wife, she's still in the other room. We have a daughter. She's actually getting her ready for bed right now. So I apologize for the delay in her intro.
No, it's okay.
But once she comes in, I can definitely introduce her when she does come into the room here.
Okay, awesome. So, first question would have to be, how did all of you meet? Was it like through acquaintances or online, or how did the GhostNet Paranormal team come to fruition?
I met Matt in high school, and then, we knew each other and stuff, and then just recently, my fiance, she lived next door to him, and then they've been close for a long time, and I just gave Matt a couple locations and stuff where to go, and then like the old Boy Scout building I was at, I came up there, and then that's how I got on the team.
Yeah, I remember
that's how I met
Travis.
Matt, Alan, and Eleena.
Yeah. And I remember that whole day after it. I was sitting talking to Eleena, and I was just like, you know what? I've known Travis for years, and if anybody can know the history and stuff, this guy, big ass history buff. And I was just like, we're just investigators, right? And we need like something else. We need somebody to help us out and do stuff and get us locations, and also have the backbone of where we're going to, And with Alan, that was the thing. It was weird. Before the jobs that we have now, we worked at a pizza joint, strangely enough. And it was weird. He brought in this like fanny pack, right? I don't know if it was a fanny pack. And he pulled out an EMF detector, and I'm like, what?
Reach out and respond, and I got one person to respond to my question of what I wanted to know, and it really did help out with that investigation. And that was the time when I know I saw a full body apparition woman standing right in front of me, about 5 feet in front of me, and then she was gone.
Wow.
With Travis saying like he reaches out to local people, that's the thing. Like when we do a location in Illinois or wherever, on our Facebook, we have people from everywhere that just follow us and just intrigued by us and want to see us keep going. And say like we're in Paxton, we had people just hitting us up on the Facebook page on a live thing, or even sending us direct messages like, hey, the place you're at, I am a like down descendant of who you are trying to locate in this building, like the county jail that we did in Paxton. This Ford County's first serial killer, this lady came and contacted us and said, hey, I'm his great-great-great-granddaughter, and I have some dirt on him. If you want to talk to him, I know how you can get him to talk. And and we used it. And believe it or not, I got grabbed. So.
Wow. So, how often do you use objects or information that you get from people to try to bring out the spirits to communicate to them?
We try to do it a lot. Oh yeah, you can talk, man. Sorry about that.
Oh, it's all right. And, yeah, using a lot's good too, and also it's nice to like space it out in between to where you ask your basic nonchalant questions, and then like how old are you, or are you a man or a woman? Then all of a sudden you throw out this question that only if you get a response and it's an intelligent response, that's like, well, they just legit answer my question. Like my famous question I ask at every single location, and it's only happened once, and Matt knows what I'm going to say is, what town are we in? And I got a woman saying tax. And then we also had another spirit when I was sitting across from Matt, maybe about like 3 feet. He had the spirit box going. He said, "Hey, I'm Matt. How's everybody going?" And all of a sudden you just hear a voice come and go, "Hey, Matt." Like a woman just saying, "Hey, Matt," like casually, like she was walking by, like in the hallway at school or something.
Yeah, and it's like getting into the field. Like, people don't understand. Like, you can watch this stuff on TV and you can be all amazed and in awe about everything that you see on there, but half things you kind of have to put in thought, like, is that really real? Until you really like experience it firsthand. Like even Alan talking about the hotel, he was up doing a solo. He had the spirit box going, and literally he had two spirits in the afterlife fighting with each other. Like, I'm going to kill you. You leave me alone.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, and Alan's just sitting there nonchalantly like, uh-oh.
Yeah, and he's yelling at the spirit box like, "Guys, stop it. Just stop. Calm down." Like, and we're sitting here looking on the monitor in the other, or actually downstairs, and we're just like, "What? Why is he yelling?" Like,
So, what is y'all's favorite gadget when you go in a investigation to use?
My favorite
tool.
My favorite tool is the voice recorder, because you never know what you can get. And I just love the fact that if you're in the room by yourself and it's completely quiet and you're not saying anything, and all of a sudden there's a voice on there and you're like, there's nobody else in the room with me. How is that possible?
Alan, what would you say, man?
For the favorite gadget and stuff, I mean,
yeah,
honestly, yeah. I really enjoy the spirit box. Like, I feel like we at certain locations, like, you know, some of them are more active than others. Like, we really get like a good communication with the afterlife, and like that one, like you guys talking about, with the ones arguing back and forth. Like, that was like a really good session with it, and like that's my favorite gadget at all so far. I mean, I've created some stuff that I've made, and so far we haven't had a lot of luck with it. Hopefully in the future we'll have some more, but I definitely would say the spirit box.
Yeah. So, what is y'all's favorite place y'all have been so far?
I have to say, I'd probably say the Ford County Jail was pretty awesome. It's just really cool when you walk in. They still have the cell doors, the paint's peeling from the ceilings. They gave us the whole feel of locking us down into a cell and closing us in one. And it was just the beauty of the oldness of the building that they're preserving and stuff. And we've also, with us going there, it's also piqued a whole bunch of other people's interest in going to the jail and everything, keeping it alive and being able to keep paying the bills and let people know, hey, look, this is what stuff used to be like, and informing people, because at the Ford County Jail, there's more than just the jail that they teach you about. There's other things too, upstairs and stuff. And like, me and Matt were outside on the porch smoking a cigarette, and I was talking to him, and then just out the corner of my eye, I looked over into the room, and I was like, oh, whatever. And the next thing you know, about 30 seconds later, Matt looks over, and he was like, dude, I just saw something. I was like, did you see like a man in like a long wool like type of trench coat or something? He said, yeah, it was like a wool grayish color. And like, it was weird because we both saw the same thing, but I didn't say anything, and then he said something. He said he saw what I saw. But
that's awesome. That's going to actually, that's going to touch on my next question is, have you ever been to a place and it just completely catch you off, like a piece of evidence just completely catches you off guard?
Yeah. This is actually kind of like before Alan was in here. It was like maybe pre GhostNet. The other locations that I think are the best to investigate are cemeteries. I've had some really strange things happen, so I don't really know where to begin. Since you're out in the open, you have everything to look out for, and you don't know what sounds are what, because you could be in the middle of a field or woods, perhaps. So, I mean, actually seeing a full body apparition, like with your own eyes, it's something you can't explain. I would say that would be credible evidence in anybody's investigation. But seeing it firsthand, like I have, actually more than once, before the guys were in the crew, I investigated a house over in Loda, Illinois, and it was the house that Abe Lincoln stayed in. And I was going down a hallway upstairs, and I turned around, and it was this huge black mass just in the doorway. Yeah, I crapped myself instantly. It was terrifying. And then I stood there and looked back, and it was still there. And I was just like, okay, I'm going to walk up to it. And I walked up to it, and I'm by myself. I think I had somebody else that was there that let me in the building at the time. I'm just solo everything at this point in my life. And right when I looked down and looked back up, it was gone. And I walked right past the doorway that it was in, and I'm standing here just like, okay, that was amazing. Whatever that thing was, like, I mean, I didn't have any cameras. I had a recorder and everything. I was basically just scrapping it for the whole night. I didn't have like I have now at GhostNet with like the SLS and all the cameras we have, all the equipment we have, all the tech stuff we have. I didn't have that back in the day.
Definitely. So, how many times have you seen something or heard something that you thought to yourself, wow, I wish I'd have caught that on video or pictures or sound?
Just recently, when we were all down in the basement at the Pollock Hospital, we heard, remember guys, when we heard the disembodied voice of that like man or something, like when we went back home and we caught it, we were just like, seriously? On no audio, no video, no nothing was caught. Like, how is that possible? I even heard it, and I stopped and looked at my wife, and she's like, you heard that too? I was like, yeah. Like it was a man saying, yeah, or like no, or something. It was a deeper voice.
Yeah.
That's got to be really frustrating too. So,
yeah.
Have any of you ever been to a place that you just had the overwhelming feeling of just, I shouldn't be here, or
yeah, I do. In the town I grew up in, Rantoul, it's the former home of the Chenier Air Force Base, and there was a building there called White Hall. And at one time, White Hall was the biggest government building in the world before the Pentagon was built. And me and my friends, we broke in there, like nothing else to do in Rantoul. We broke in there and we were walking around, and I said, hey, let's go to the sub-basement. My grandpa told me how to get down there. So we go down to the sub-basement, and only two of us went down there. We were down there, and I remember it was pitch black, and we had a flashlight, and the flashlight didn't cut through the black. That's all I can describe it, is black. It's like staring into dirt. down there. And I was standing there, and there was nothing, and we couldn't see anything in front of us. And all of a sudden, we heard like this, what you hear in the movies where nails drag across like a concrete wall. You can just hear that, and you could just hear this like really low gurgle growl. And we were like, look at each other, and I was like, I'm out. And like and I went back in Whitehall a dozen times. I never once went back in that sub-basement. That sub-basement scared the crap out of me.
Definitely, I wouldn't want to have to go back there. So I'm assuming that you go to places that nobody lives, that it's abandoned. Have you ever been to any place that you didn't have to worry about like spirits attacking you, that it was just dangerous all in itself?
I'm not sure if we've been on any like that yet, but probably in the near future we'd have to worry about stuff like that.
All right. Let's see. So, I assume you catch all kinds of EVPs. He was talking about one at the beginning of the show. What ones come to mind that is like some of your best evidence that if you had to show someone that wasn't really into the paranormal, that might possibly make them a believer?
I would have to say the EVP we caught up a little girl that I was mentioning earlier. Anybody that we talked to that like, you're not a believer? Well, do you want to believe? And then we pull up that EVP, and her voice, it's just unbelievable.
Yeah, and everybody that I work with, like at work, like everybody who starts there, we always tell them, it's like, hey, this place is a little bit haunted. It's not a scary haunt. It's more of like a, hey, I'm gonna mess with you type of haunt. Like our ice scoop will get thrown off the top of the ice machine, and the girls would be like, what the hell happened? It's like, it's the little girl. And they don't believe me, they don't believe us, and then every once in a while one woman was like, hey, I was in here last night, and I saw a little girl in like a red dress at the end of the hallway. And we're like, yeah, that's what we see. She's probably like, I'd say maybe like 8 or 9. It's like what she looks like. And then now that we have that proof, I mean, at work, I've been like, hey, listen to this. This was caught right next door. I mean, the buildings, you can't walk from building to building, but the buildings are connected. And both of the buildings survived a downtown fire, which like destroyed all of downtown. And in the basement of our job, you can see scorch marks. And the old Boy Scout building used to be I would guess, the county jail for a little while, but there was only like 2 or 3 cells. They weren't down there. And I couldn't find too much info, even with the town historian. He's like, I don't know too much about it because they didn't keep too good of records back then. Because most of the people that were in there were like, Joe Bob got drunk last night, so they threw him in the tank for the night. But they did have a serial killer that they had stay there overnight. And through my research that I did, it was right around the same time when Frederick Holman from the Ford County Jail was taken out of the Ford County Jail and moved over to Vermilion County for the time being, because the people of the town were like stood in front of the jail and were like demanding, hey, he needs to come out and we need to hang him from a tree outside right now. So they wanted like, well, no, we have to do this, blah, blah, blah. But I never found out any records, but it's a same time frame. And I'm wondering, what if Frederick Holman was connected to that place too, as well? But we'll never know that because there's no dead set records that he was there.
Wow.
Hey, just to let you know, Eleena has entered the room, so I didn't know if you wanted to introduce her. She is the other founder of GhostNET.
Definitely. Hello.
Hi. How are you?
Doing awesome. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'm Eleena Mullins. I co-founded GhostNET with my husband Matt, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I do most of the EVPs, I guess, as a group.
Okay.
I got pretty
sorry,
good hearing.
I don't mean to retract, but a couple questions back, I just remembered this. We were at the motel, in Paxton, the one where he's telling you about, where Alan caught the spirits arguing. Well, I brought my fiance with me on our second investigation, and Matt and Eleena and Alan were off doing something, and I told randomly, hey, let's go in this room real quick, and we'll do a quick little EVP while they're setting some stuff up. And we were sitting there asking questions, and then all of a sudden you hear a woman's voice go, "Who's that?" And all of us in the group, we were thinking, hey, we're the second time back, they recognize us. So we're thinking they're saying, "Who's that?" Meaning, who's standing next to me, which is my fiance.
Oh, wow.
So that was another credible, like, intelligent type of EVP. I wouldn't classify it as like a Class A because it's kind of like a little bit distorted, but you can definitely tell it says, "Who's that?" And it's a woman acting that because of the nice little low and soft voice.
Definitely. So do you think that, speaking of intelligent haunts, do you think that a lot of them are intelligent, or that the majority of them could be like residual past events from something that has happened?
Yeah, I believe a lot.
To be honest, it's... sorry, man. I was just about to say, to be honest, it's hard to tell. I mean, you can be going into a place and it could be intelligent, or they could be replaying everything. Like how I believe there's some intelligent and replaying occurrences happening at a place we investigated last year called the Roth House. It's just hard to tell, but when you get the audio and everything and you're looking back, or you have things happening in the house, or people tell us that they see people walking, I mean, that can be debunked as, well, not debunked, but, explained as, occurrences that are just replaying in time.
Yeah, and at the Roth House,
it's really hard to tell.
Yeah, at the Roth House, they say there's over 100 spirits now because of all the seances that the mother and father did during trying to talk to their daughter.
Yeah, they say that a door was open and there are now more spirits that are in the house. Not only Mary Roth and the descendants of that home.
I think the Roth House is not haunted by like the Mary Roth or our traditional spirits. I think they're haunted by like ancient spirits, or like the Native American spirits, like how I found out the Potawatomi Native American tribe was marched just like the Trail of Tears, but it was called the Trail of Death, and that went right through where we live and right there by Watsika and then over into Missouri. And
wow.
Some of those, a lot of people died on that trail, and some of those spirits could be the native spirits, and they're mad because we came in and we destroyed the land and everything, or they're mad because we're the white man and they see us as, hey, that was the last thing they saw was the white man was taking them away from their home, and that they're mad for that reason too. But the Roth House was good. I mean, I feel like something followed me home from there, because for like a month straight, every day I was just having bad luck, and it wasn't like huge things going wrong, it was just like little minor things were going wrong, this and that, and like I have night terrors, and I got rid of them for a while, and then after the Roth House, for a good little while, every night I was waking up at a cold sweat and waking up in like fear, like the most scared you ever been in your life. I just wake up and I'm like, whoa, what the crap? But it's all went away now, but because I not staged myself, because stage hurts my head, but it was the White Oak, I think. No, not White Oak. I can't remember, but I did cleanse myself, and after that I didn't get any more night terrors and stuff. I mean, once or twice, but usually it comes to stress for me. But
definitely.
I've never had the experience of the sleep paralysis. My fiance, it's happened to her twice, and it freaked her out. And it never happens to her unless, like, right before she goes to bed, she reads about, like, her grandma's really big into the psychic world and stuff like that. And, like, sometimes she'll read an article that her grandma shared, and she'll read it, and then when she sleeps, she has that, or she'll have a dream. Or one time, she was reading about it, and her father passed away 10 years ago today, actually. And she said that one night in her dream, her dad showed up in the dream with a jacket he always wore and everything, and approached her in a dream and said, remember what he said to her, but she said she woke up and she was like, when she wasn't upset by it, she felt good about it and stuff. In a sense, like her dad was telling her, hey, I'm still here, I'm watching you, that type of thing. And Miranda got that, I feel like she got that clearance that like, she was like, hey, now I know my dad's with me.
Mm-hmm. Not
that whole thing of like, whenever says, oh, hey, they passed, they're still with you, they're still watching you. But I think Miranda has that 100% proof that my dad's with me. And I think that's all.
Wow. So earlier you was saying that you had to cleanse yourself. Do you all do anything to protect yourselves before you go in to investigate a place?
I usually, in the car, I'll just usually recite the Lord's Prayer to myself before I go in and do the cross on my chest. And that's usually all I about do. But I don't know if Matt and Eleena and Alan do anything or not.
Well,
Alan, he did have the.
yeah, Alan did have the.
Let him.
Yeah, what did you have on that necklace with the stones?
Well, yeah, I had like that black something. I can't remember the name of it, but I have a stone that I wear that now to help ground myself and fight off negative energy from attaching to me or anything around me.
And with Eleena and we. Oh, sorry, man. You can keep going.
Oh, I was just saying, like, I don't really talk too much about it, but before most of all my investigations, I pray and stuff, and like sometimes I'll even like speak out to like my grandpa that I was really close to like watch over me. So like I do stuff like that to help myself out.
And with Eleena and I, we really go in there unprotected, because, deep down I can say that there is like that skeptic in all of us that we want that big thing to happen to us when we're on investigations. So, we've had past investigator who was with us from the start, Clayton. He was with us on Ashmore and stuff like that. And the last investigation we were at, actually, it was the place in St. Joe that we were talking about with the girl. Mm-hmm. And he had this ring on, and nothing was coming through the spirit box. And then he explained, he's like, it could be my ring because it is blessed. And I was like, okay, take it off. And he gave it to my wife, and we put it in the vehicle. And after that happened, the place just lit up. Mm-hmm. And people don't believe that does work. Like, if you're super blessed, like, things might not come to you. And we kind of we haven't really had totally negative things come around us, but that's to be said to new investigations that we're going to have.
One thing I make sure to do is I don't bring any personal items. It's all the electronics. Make sure we don't bring anything of my personal stuff or his personal stuff, like something that we wear, daily or whatever. I don't want any attachments or anything like that. So I make sure not to bring any personal stuff except for GhostNet specific items.
So,
I was gonna ask, Eleena, right?
Yeah, Eleena, yeah.
Okay. I was gonna ask you, what was your favorite place that you've been to so far, out of all the investigations?
That's hard. I would say St. Joe was awesome. Namely because it was one of our first ones, and because we got that EVP of that little girl. That was insane. Never had anything
it was
like
crazy
that.
It was crazy how active it was in such a small building.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, yeah. And it didn't feel like it until, like Matt was saying, like later on in the night, you know, Clayton took that ring off, and then everything just went crazy, and, you know, we ended up having to cut it short because of some circumstances, but I think that if we would have stayed, we would have got a lot more, and it was awesome because it was such a small building. Like, I would love to go back there.
Yeah, you see it on TV. Yeah,
that's what he was telling me. Yeah, that sucks.
And just like Eleena said, it was a small place, and you see those people going to these big, huge places and investigating, and you got to put in mind, that's cool and all that you're going to be going into a big place and capturing spirits, but what lies beyond something that is like a building that has basically you walk in and you're in the main room, and then next is just the basement and it's the same size as the main room.
I mean, honestly, my favorite places are the small ones.
Yeah.
Because you get such unexpected evidence. Like the big ones, the ones that have been hyped up and everything like that, it just seems like it's been hyped up, you know, to be something that, you know, you're basically scratching for evidence.
Yeah, you're expecting everything to happen, and then when it doesn't, you're just like,
please,
really?
Please come out.
Yeah,
you
come
know,
on, and you're doing everything.
Yeah, I prefer the small places.
Yeah, some of those big ones. Some of those big ones you can get lost really quick. Like I always hear it when people go to Waverly Hills. They're like, you don't realize it on TV, but once you get there, there's absolutely no windows in the entire place. And it's all open.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Or how many times we got turned around at the public.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like we just got turned around so bad.
Yeah, and with those big buildings too, like Eleena was saying, they're just really big and it's so hard to cover that area. And like, let's say if you hear something, you can't tell yourself like, oh, that's a spirit, because it's a big building. More than likely, there's animals living in that big building too. And those small buildings, you can be like, all right, let's run around this little area. If you don't see an animal, like, hey, it's not an animal. So, because I always love this. As soon as I hear something or see something, the first thing I love to do is let's debunk this and find out if it's whatever. Or like when we're at the Pollock, one thing that has never happened, and I've never seen it ever happen before on any of the paranormal shows or any of the Facebook pages I'm on, we were inside about ready to get our little history lesson of the place. We were getting ready to close the door, and a woman says, hey, who's driving the white car? And I was like, I am. Why? And she goes, all four windows just rolled down at the exact same time, and my car doesn't have an automatic start. And I've tried every trick in the book. And then the next morning I checked my fuses. Everything was good. I rolled my windows up and down constantly. Just like it never happened. And then the people at the Pollock were like, welcome to the Pollock, where stuff like that happens. So I was like, it was just weird because there's no way possible my windows could have rolled down. Even if I would have had an automatic start, my car would have been on. But I got in my car and I had to start my car to roll my windows up.
Oh, wow.
It was just, that baffles your mind, because that I can't say it's paranormal or I can't say it's mechanical, because we don't know.
Definitely. So, whenever you go to a place, how long do you usually stay at a place?
We normally stay at a place. Yeah, well, it can be more.
Yeah. That one time in Paxton, we were there for like 10 hours almost. We didn't leave. Well, I got home at like 7 o'clock. I got home that morning. It was like 7 o'clock in the morning because we went and got breakfast after the investigation.
Yeah. Yeah, we can stay out all night.
It depends on usually how much evidence we've gotten. Like if it's a really quiet night and we haven't got anything, and kind of like, well, maybe we should pack up. And we usually will ask the spirits, hey, if you want us to leave, say something. If you don't want us to leave, don't say anything or be quiet. We're going to stay here until you tell us to leave. And we have had I think one or two times, Alan asked that question, and we heard a voice come over and say, "Leave," and Alan's like, "Okay." And I feel like Alan gets the better responses on the spirit box. I don't know why, but I feel like he gets really good answers. And Eleena, she usually gets some really good answers on her EVP. She's got a lot of good ones too.
Well, the thing is, spirits tend to, every investigation we go on, no matter where it's at, she always has a physical thing happen to her. Like, she always gets, like, touched and hair waved or pulled or whatever. She did one time, she didn't feel it, but there were hand marks around her neck when we were at Ashmore doing a walkthrough down in the basement, where it's reported that a old maintenance man is down there and he doesn't like women. And it was after that, I was like, wait a minute, we were just down in the basement and you came out and you had red hand marks around your neck. Do you remember that? And she was like, no. So, I mean, yeah, I would have to say the two people in the team, Alan gets the best responses on the spirit box. And I just don't know if they like him because he's a friendly guy or what. And Eleena,
I mean, that's why I really enjoy, like, the spirit box. The way I always say it's my favorite one, because, like, I don't know why, but I always do get really good responses on the spirit box for some reason. They're like, they really want to communicate with me on there.
Definitely. So I know a lot of times whenever you watch investigators on TV, a lot of times they do provoking and they try calling out the spirits. What are your guys' approach to that? Do you do that, or is it different with you?
Well, we don't really try too much to provoke. Go ahead if you want to.
Oh, yeah, I'll say, yeah, we don't try, like Alan said, we don't try too much, but every once in a while we'll try to get it, like, we'll try to get riled up. Like, Alan really wanted that spirit to push him because we got a report of a bigger guy being shoved, and he, like, got stumbled off his feet, and that had to be a good force, and Alan was like, come on, you can do it to him, do it to me. Don't be scared. And, I mean, there's been a couple times where we've called out, like, when, before GhostNET, this is when I was about, like, 19, I would say. Me and some of my friends, we were driving out around. There's an area by where we all live called Dogtown, which is just always full of these urban legends. And there's a spot there where they call it Hell's Gate. And it's weird because there's two oak trees right across the street from each other, and they're exactly the same, branch for branch going up. And say if you drive through it at a certain time or whatever, I can't remember what the story is, then you're supposed to see something or feel something. Well, me and my friends did it and nothing happened. And I was just like, well, I guess the devil's being a little B word. I don't know if I don't want to cuss on your podcast. But I said that, and I was like, he's not nothing. I'm not scared of him. And then we were just driving along, and then next thing you know, I was just sitting there, and I told my buddy JD, I was like, dude, you need to pull over. He's like, why? I was like, I'm about to throw up, and my face was just pasty white. And I just started barfing, and like for 3 days, I was just sick. And before that, I was perfectly fine and dandy. We were just out cruising the night. And it was like a Sunday night in the middle of the winter, and I got sick for 3 days, and I felt like I got sick because I talked crap to the paranormal realm, the spirit realm.
Right.
And I suffered the consequences.
So, have you had any other experiences where you got physically ill?
I didn't get physically ill, but we were at the Ford County Jail, and we were standing in this room where they said they did like intake pictures, and they also had juveniles in there. Mm-hmm. And we were in there asking questions, and Matt and Eleena were getting responses off this light that if you get close to it, it pops on. And you move away from it, it turns off. And they were asking yes or no questions. Well, and I was standing behind an old radiator, and I had my hands resting on the bottom of the radiator. And then I wasn't saying anything. And like earlier tonight, I think somebody might have done a little bit of provoking, but I was just standing there, and all of a sudden, I grabbed my side, And my fiance was there too, and she's like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "I need to go downstairs because I feel like someone just punched me in my ribs, like a quick little jab, like you would do to your buddy if you guys were just horsing around, just like, hey man, oh, a quick little jab." That's what it felt like. It didn't hurt. It was just a quick little instance of pain, but I felt like if I stayed in the room, maybe I might have got hit or more, or got sick or something. I wasn't too sure.
Mhm. So, do you think that there's more activity at places where either there's been a lot of investigation teams go in, or do you think that there's less activity in those types of places?
It all depends on how the night goes and how the spirits go, I think. 'Cause, like, everybody always, Ashmore Estates, like Matt was saying, I haven't been there yet, but everybody's always saying, you need to go Ashmore, you need to go Ashmore, you need to go Ashmore. And Matt and then they said the night was pretty quiet, but we want to go back during the daytime because we've heard that they're more active during the day at Ashmore than they are at night. So, I mean, sometimes I do believe that all these investigators coming into the properties might rile up to the spirits and make them mad. Be like, hey, you're in my property, you're disturbing me. I'm trying to live in peace now. You're coming here asking all these stupid questions. And some probably don't care, or I don't know. It's one of those questions you could toss up in the air to. You can say, yeah, it affects it, and no, it doesn't, because we really don't have that definitive proof yet.
Right. Well, one.
Plus, it's like we have like.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say that, like with the Ashmore and stuff, like we found out like a week before that there was a group that went in there, and just like the way they do their things and stuff, like they were doing like a seance and stuff, and like it like it messed up like the whole investigation for us, because we feel like it kind of scared the spirits, and they didn't want to come out and be active with us.
And weren't most of the spirits at Ashmore, weren't they children's spirits that are there?
Yes, they were. There was more children there than anything else.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I think that fans might have scared the kids, because, I mean, if I was a kid and I saw that, it would probably scare me, too. I'm not going to lie.
Oh, we lost them.
All right. So, apparently we lost them. So there's only a few minutes left of the podcast anyway. Try to get him. Yeah.
Hey, y'all.
Hey, I do know what happened.
We're starting to get a heavy winds and a storm, so I think it's just our phone connection.
Okay. All right.
But there's only like five or 6 minutes left of the podcast anyway, so.
Okay.
No,
so you thinking about an hour?
Well, yeah, we started 7 after, so.
Okay. All right. Not a problem.
But it was just about to end it anyway. If you want to go ahead and throw out any way people could contact you, or social media or anything like that.
Yeah. You can contact us on Facebook at facebook.com/GhostNET, our phone. And we are a profit organization, basically. That's what put us as free. Love to help and all with any of their. We always joke.
Okay, it looks like we lost them again. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put all of their social media on the podcast description for everyone to go to. I hate the weather. This is why we've canceled a couple of shows. So now you see, not lying. But maybe we can have them back in the future whenever we're not getting bad weather. So
I hope everybody has a great night. Bye.
Bye.
in the sunlit world of what he believes to be reality. But there is, unseen by most, an underworld, a place that is just as real, but not as brightly lit. A dark side.